good to see so many of you here. I'm Rania. I'm from the mymaastricht team. I've been working for mymaastricht now for, I think, almost 3 years. And today we're going to tell you all about living in Maastricht and so on. Maybe still the rest of the team can introduce yourselves before we kick it off.
Yeah, hi, I am Maria. I'm one of the social media coordinators. Oh, yeah, you can. I'm one of the social media coordinators for Maastricht. I've been working here for almost 2 years now, and I'm a third year UCM student.
I can go next. So I am Luisa. I'm a social media coordinator as well for Maastricht, and I'm a third year student in data science and AI. So I've been here 3 years as well.
And then we have two Zout students as well participating today. So they're going to bring us a lot of insights into Zout, so the other university and Maastricht with UM. Do you guys still want to present yourselves quickly?
Yes, so hello, my name is Martina, and I'm currently in my second year at Zuid University of Applied Sciences, where I study European Studies.
And hi, my name is Jonas. I am finishing my first year, my first year in international business, also at Zuid. And yeah, I'm here to help in any way I can.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. So a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk a little bit about the city, a lot about housing, as it's one of the most important topics when moving into Maastricht. A little bit about bikes, transport, some living essentials, and we're going to give you some tips. And then also what we can do as an organization. So the presentation is going to take approximately 45 minutes. And we have the Q&A in the end, but also if you have any questions in the meantime, please write them into the Q&A chat. You can find it at the bottom bar of your screen. So if you have any questions, we have people answering all of your questions in the chat right at the moment.
Okay, let's start a bit of what is Maastricht. I'm guessing everyone that joined is from Instagram, but Maastricht is the one-stop information platform as a website to help people and new students that come here in the city to help settle in the new city. And we do this by providing more bureaucratic, let's say, boring information about how to live here, but also trying to give you tips and show you what are the best drinks in town or the best restaurants to go at. And we are supported by Maastricht University, Zoid University, and the municipality of Maastricht, so you know that our information is reliable. So we are, as I said, we are very active on social media, on Instagram and on TikTok. So if you're interested in knowing all of our information in a more fun and engaging way, go follow us on there. And yeah, so moving on. Why should you live in Maastricht? First of all, it's an international community with a Dutch twist. As I said, I think I haven't said it, but for example, I'm from Italy, and our team also is quite international. But in general, Maastricht attracts a lot of international students. And for example, my friend group is made of all different nationalities, from Poland to Cyprus to Spain and so on. But you still live in the Netherlands, so you know you get exposed to the culture. It also has a very cozy small town vibe, but still with a lot of things to do. For example, there's so many student associations here in Maastricht. So if you have any interest, any niche topic that you like, there's going to be a club or association about it, and it's going to be easy for you to find your people to join an event. But it's still quite a small town, so it's not like very chaotic. You don't have to commute 30 minutes to go somewhere. With a bike, it's very easy to go around and join events. And also you have very easy access to other countries in Europe, since we are literally in the middle of Europe, and it's very well connected within other airports. We have one in Maastricht, one in Eindhoven, Cologne, Charleroi. So it's very easy to travel. I tested it. You can find amazing deals here to go on a weekend trip after exams, for example, or any time that you feel like it. And this city is around 122,000 inhabitants, and it's a very student city, and 20 of those are students. So you're gonna see a lot of young people around. And this is how our website looks like. We have a compass where we try to cover every, let's say, aspect of your life, from finances to community, housing, health, sport, transport, and exploring the city and lifestyle. We try to cover everything. And on the right side, you can see that we also have some blogs that we try to update every 2 weeks, where we also try to bring you more lifestyle content, for example, how to be more sustainable in Maastricht, or how to prepare for life after graduation. And yeah, this is the main page on our website. But what should you visit in Maastricht? If you come here, for example, I don't know, for an open day or to see the city, to see properties, we have some recommendation to give you to when you go around. First thing, we have Wick, which is like a neighborhood near the center with a lot of cafes, and it's a very nice walk around that we recommend. Then we can see the Marina at Bassin. Also very nice to walk around with a lot of cafes that I definitely recommend, especially on a sunny day, to go there and enjoy the weather. And then we have the St. Peter, which is the highest mountain in the Netherlands, let's say. It's more like a hill, but it's very nice if you want to go have a picnic when the weather is sunny, or you want to go on a small hike. It's very like nature, and it's giving calm and peaceful vibes. And then we have Stadspark, which is the main park in the city. Also, they're very nice for a picnic. Lately, the weather is nice. There is so many people in Stadspark just hanging out, playing with ball, eating fruits. It's a very nice vibe.
All right, so then we're moving on towards the housing. So the housing sector might be one of the biggest questions that you might have, especially if you're moving to the Netherlands overall. I'm also originally an international student, so I've lived here now for almost 4 years. But when I moved here for the first time, all of the housing things seemed quite confusing to me. So if you're going to start university in September, start looking for housing now. Here's just a couple of tips on where to start looking for housing that we're going to give you. And you can use these tips and tricks to then go forward with your search. Our first recommendation is to look at Maastricht Housing. You can find them on the website maastrichthousing.com, which the website is also at the top of the page. So they're the official and Zoud housing platform. What they eventually do is that you pay a 35 euro fee, and after that you have access to all of their listings. Housing in the Netherlands works a little differently compared to housing, for example, in the US. So we do not have these college type dorms and so on, but basically more independent housing. But the guest house that Maastricht Housing provides is the closest option to this dorm-like living. They have a lot of guest houses all over the city in different parts, and usually it is that you share a floor with several other people, can be 2-3 people, and can extend to all the way to up to around 12-13 people per floor. You have your own room, but then you most likely share toilets, some kitchens, or a kitchen, and some other facilities. So if you want this type of housing where you can live with a lot of different people, get to know people, especially in your first year, that could be a really, really nice option. Then guest houses are a place to look out for. Maastricht Housing does also provide a link to private landlords as well. So on their website, where you can look at all the listings, you can also find some private landlords as well, renting out rooms or apartments in the city. If then Maastricht Housing, either they do not have availability or maybe you want to look for something else, the second option is to look for private landlords. There's several ways to look at these private landlords and private housing. The number one still is Facebook. There's a lot of Facebook groups that you can just find by Googling or putting in the Facebook search bar, Housing Maastricht or Rooms Maastricht, Kamers, which is the Dutch word for rooms, Maastricht, and you can find all these different groups. There are people, either the landlords themselves or the people who are leaving the rooms or apartments, are listing their places out. And the best way in which you can find these places is to make yourself a small draft of like, hi, my name is this and this. I'm coming to study this and this in Maastricht, and these are my interests. You can always post that into the comments of of the listing, and from there, then you might be able to get into contact with the person who is renting out the place. Also, we recommend that you turn on the notifications because then you can always react very quickly when you find a place that might be interesting to you. A second option is Pararius. You can find them on the website pararius.nl, or you just Google Pararius. There are independent landlords are listing their places. These are mostly apartments, but some rooms as well all over town. A third option is Kamernet. Kamernet is only for rooms. You can find them on kamernet.nl as well. And there you can find rooms all over the city that private landlords are renting out. However, with all of these options, especially with Facebook, we do recommend you to be very careful. There are a lot of scams. So if you find something that seems a little bit too good to be true, then it probably is. So make sure that that everything seems legit, that either you get a viewing in person if you're in town, or you get an online viewing, and that they, for example, do not ask you to transfer large amounts of money to an account before you even see the apartments and so on. So just common sense things, but keep those in mind when you are looking to rent from private landlords, and especially through Facebook. The third option that we have are these official social housing corporations. There's 3 that work in Maastricht called Maasvali, Servatius, and Woonpunt. Basically, how these work is that they have a maximum income. Some of them use your own income, so what you are making yourself, and some of them use your parents' income, so in that case, you might not always be eligible for these. But check all of the conditions on their website, you can find them there, and then you can see if these are an option for you. They also have mainly apartments located all over the city. A final option that we have, or that we recommend, is some other types of accommodations. We have Xior and the Student Hub, which are more hotel-like accommodations. They also have the Student Hub has one place, and then Xior has several locations all over town. These usually tend to be a little pricier options, but possibly they might fit you as well. The Student Hub, for example, offers you a bike and a gym and some other benefits as well. In the case that September comes rolling around and you're like, oh, I haven't been able to find an accommodation, there is a hostel called Stay OK. They provide short-term solutions, so rooms, a more of a hostel type of living or accommodation that you might want to look into. The last thing that we also have as an option is called Hospi Housing. You can see the logo at the top of the page. They basically provide rooms in someone else's houses. So it might be like a family that has a spare room and you might be able to rent through them. So you can also check that out. A couple housing tips and tricks that you might be, that might work out for you. The first one is to turn on, as I said, the notifications on all of the different Facebook housing groups. And as I was just saying, make this template message so you can then send to the new post about the available room where you introduce yourself, maybe what you like about the place. So for example, like, oh, I really like that that it is located on several floors, or that it has a kitchen that has an oven, or whatever really speaks to you about the place. Then also explain why you would like to live there. So for example, if it's students who are studying in the same faculty, you can mention that, or for example, if it is close to your faculty and things like that. However, be open and genuine. So do not lie, because that will come back to you at some point, but just tell them honestly what you're looking for and how you are. And please don't get discouraged. You will definitely find something before the start of the year, or latest at the beginning of the year. So just keep on trying. I know it can be quite disheartening at times. You feel like you're sending all these messages and nothing is really coming back to you, but I guarantee that, especially if you start looking early, you will definitely find a place to rent. In the case that when you have found a place, there is a free legal service, the rental team. They go by Huurteam Zuid-Limburg, and you can also find them online on huurteamzuidlimburg.nl. They can check your contract online for you. So when you have found a place, you receive the contract and you're like, okay, now maybe this is my first time renting an apartment, or first time moving to the Netherlands. I'm not really sure exactly what these contracts are supposed to look like. Most likely the contract is also in Dutch, so you're like, okay, am I losing something in the translation? You can send your contract to the Huurteam for free. they can look through it, they can be like, okay, there is maybe something sketchy here, or there's something illegal here, and then they can tell you that, okay, this contract looks like it legit. You can sign it and go forward. Also, in the case that when you have moved to Maastricht, you find out that, oh, something is a little sketchy with my housing, something doesn't really seem quite right, or something is clearly illegal that is going on, they provide free legal aid in case of these problems arise. For example, if you think your rent is too high, the HUR team can check the rent for you. There is a certain maximum rent that landlords are able to charge you. Or for example, if you feel like the landlord is treating you unfairly, they're keeping the house way too cold, like you're freezing in the middle of the winter or something similar, then the HUR team can start a legal process for you. So keep this in mind, especially after you have moved to Maastricht, and also then for the contract check.
Here we have an overview of all the neighborhoods that are in Maastricht and where the faculty also located in respect to that, so you have a better idea of where you should look housing for. In Maastricht, we don't have a campus university, but it's more like a faculty are spread around the city. So as you can see, we have the river that separates them. On one side, we have, for example, FASOS, SBE, the School of Business Economics, QCM. And on the other side, we have Faculty of Engineering, FPN, and so on. So, for example, if you're going to study at FSE, I would suggest to start to look in the neighborhood or Randwick, or also in Wick could be fine. But yeah, this is just to give you more of an overview.
So to help you get oriented, here are the main Zeit buildings in Maastricht. So if you're planning to study at Zeit, it's a good idea to start looking for housing close to these locations. Most classes will take place in these buildings, depending on the study program you choose. So for example, the Bratislava building, if you're studying European studies or international business.
Okay, now it's time to talk about living expenses. So we estimated that for rent, which is gonna be your biggest expense, you're gonna have an average of 550 euros if you share the apartment with someone else, including the service cost. Or if you want to get the studios on your own, there's gonna be more around 1,000 euros. And then for other living expenses, we estimated that the cost is going to be around 400, 600 euros. And that includes, for example, groceries, study materials, membership, going out. Of course, that depends very much on your lifestyle, because if you like to eat out a lot, maybe that goes a bit more towards the 600, 700 budget. But I know some of my friends are very strict with their meal planning, so they spend around 30, 40 euros a week for groceries. And of course, if you like to go out a lot and party in general and spend money on alcohol, that changes, but it can definitely be done within a budget. And now let's talk about financing your study, now that we know how much it's gonna cost. And if you are a European student, then there's for you the possibility to apply to a government subsidy called the student finance, that's available if you work around 32 hours per month. And for you, there is also a possibility to apply for a loan for your tuition fees. If you are not in EU, instead, this is not possible for you. You can't apply to student finance, but you can look for scholarship, and you can check out the scholarship page on our website or on Maastricht University website on site if they have a scholarship. All other than getting money from the government, you can also, of course, try to get a job. As I said, if you're a European student, you might need to get the subsidy. And as for side jobs, in general, here in Maastricht, English is very commonly used. So the Dutch is not required, but it is preferred. And the university, though, offers some social Dutch courses that you can take. I think it's two kind of courses: social Dutch 1 and social Dutch 2. And you can enroll in them anytime within your studies. And the student jobs that you can look for can be either in cafes and restaurants, in research, or in educational institutions. For cafe restaurants, we suggest that you go directly to the cafe or to the bar to hand in your CV, because usually they also put outside looking for staff, or we need someone, so it's easier for you to see the opportunities and just go to there directly. If you want any other types of jobs, you can look out for the Personal and Professional Development Portal. That's an Inter-UM, that's for jobs related to university. So for example, this is a student jobs that we are doing, and we are employed by Inter-UM. If you want other kind of jobs, you can check out WorkNL and untouchables.nl. Now let's talk about banking. So if you are in the Netherlands, you can consider opening a bank account if you're here more than 4 months. And ABN AMRO and ING offer free student accounts. And the registration requires sometimes it's after 90 days, and for international students, for European students, the process can be done fully online. You don't need to go in person to the bank, while least for non-European students, then you might be required to go to the bank. So just keep that in mind. And one thing that you also should keep in mind, it's good to have some insurances. For example, probably it's gonna be said in your contract, then you need some kind of home insurance, but in general it's also good to have some liability insurance, just in case some damage is done to you, or you do some damage to someone else.
All right, so besides all of the financial things, if you're going to stay in Maastricht for 4 months or more, meaning that you're probably going to be a regular student and not an exchange student, it is legally required that you register with the municipality. Basically, when you register, it's a whole process of where you then receive what we call a BSN, which is eventually your social security number in the Netherlands. And this is a really, really important number. You're going to need it for a lot of things. For example, as Luisa was just talking about the bank account, you need that for opening a bank account. And soon I'll be talking about healthcare. You will need it for that as well. Also, if you want to do any online services, for example, apply for the student financing, you do need the BSN in order to use all of those services. When you come here, make sure that you register immediately with the municipality. So you need to do within 5 days of arriving. So make sure that you can already do it even a couple of days before arrival online, and you can find the specific instructions on our website. If you're going to stay here for less than 4 months, so you come in, for example, as an exchange student, you need to register with the R&I desk. This is also the case that if you live, for example, in Germany or Belgium, which are right across the border, super close by, but then you want to have a job in the Netherlands, you also need to register with the R&I desk. This R&I desk is physically located a little bit further away from Maastricht in a municipality called Heerlen. It's around half an hour, 45 minutes away from here. And this is also a legal requirement. It's also super important to do this in the case that anything would happen to you and you need the doctor or something else. So please make sure to do this process. Then if we're moving on towards health insurance, really important topic, and it is a legal requirement that you have a valid health insurance in the Netherlands. Now, again, we're going to separate this into EU students and non-EU students. So if you are from the EU, you're going to need a Dutch public health insurance only if you're working. This is also that you are allowed to get it only if you are working or if you are over 30 years old. Otherwise, if you come from an EU country, you should have this blue European health insurance card from your local health insurance provider. Probably you have one of those at home. If you don't, ask your parents. If they don't know, then call your insurance provider in your home country, and make sure that you have this blue card when you come to Maastricht. In the case that for some reason you would not have this blue card or you would not be insured in your home country, then you should work as the non-EU students work. So you will need to get a private Dutch health insurance. So in the case that for some reason you do not have this card, or you come from outside of the EU, you need a private Dutch health insurance. In addition, if you are taking the Dutch public health insurance, so you are working in the Netherlands or you are over 30 years old, you might be eligible for the health insurance subsidy. This eventually means that the private health insurance, which is going to cost you starting from around 140 euros per month, can be almost fully subsidized. So at the end of the day, you maybe pay 10, 20 euros depending on the coverage of your health insurance. So make sure that that if you get a job here in the Netherlands and you get the Dutch public health insurance, which is mandatory in that case, that you then also apply for the health insurance subsidy. Overall, the most important thing is to make sure that before you come to the Netherlands, you check that your health insurance is valid, and you check that what the terms are in the case that you get into any accident here. It's super, super important because healthcare here is quite expensive, especially if you do not have any health insurance. For example, calling the ambulance does cost 800 euros, or going to ER is around 400 euros without any treatment. So it can get super expensive really quickly, so make sure that you have a health insurance. Then, overall, just a quick recap. If you have any questions, there is a Q&A box, so please ask any questions you have in there. Maria and Jonas are there answering any questions that you may have. So moving on to healthcare, for at least me, when I moved here, originally it was quite different from where I come from. And this whole general practitioner system or family doctor system is quite different compared to my home country. What you should do after you receive the BSN, so your social security number, which you get after you have registered with the municipality, you should also register with a family doctor or a GP. There's a lot of GPs located in Maastricht, and all of them can be found on our city map. We do recommend that you take somebody who is relatively close to your house, because especially if you're feeling super sick, or for example, if you have a health emergency, it's always nicer to go somewhere that is close by rather than having to walk 20 minutes away. The GP is your first point of contact for any health issues. So whether you get a flu, you've been having a flu for several weeks now, you need some medication for that, you need a specialist, or you have something, for example, related to mental health, you always need to go to your GP originally first. This works by just booking a time with them, and usually they have either same day or same week appointments available. The GPs or the family doctors are then able to refer you to specialized healthcare. So for example, if you have an eye problem or an ear problem, then the GP is able to refer you further. This is also if you, for example, have a chronic health condition for which you need treatment, the GP can also refer you to the specialized healthcare for this. In the Netherlands, I am not sure how it works in your home country, but in the Netherlands, the emergency room is only for serious emergencies. This also means that if you show up at the emergency room without having an actual real emergency, for example, your hand is very badly fractured, or you have really badly fallen off with your bike or something life-threatening in that sense, they will turn you away and they will tell you to go to your GP. That's why it's really important to have this general practitioner or family doctor contact from the beginning, so that in the case that you get into any accident, which of course we don't hope that you will, but in the case that this happens, then you have someone, or you have a place to go to and to figure out this health challenge. Of course, 112 works similarly as in most European countries for your emergency phone number. So in the case that you have any serious accident, you can always call them, and you will be able to get a consult, and they will tell you where to go.
Okay, now let's talk about airports and transport here in Maastricht. It's very easy to get in and out of the city. So if you're looking to just move around, you can use the OV chip card, which is the normal national transport card, and you can get an anonymous one or a personal one. And if you have a personal one and you have student finance, you can get free transport either on weekdays or weekends. Another option for traveling around here in the regional list is using the student mobility card, which gives you a discount if you travel a lot with Arriva, which is the main company here in Limburg. And it's an initiative that is running a pilot until the end of the year, so you can still take advantage of it if you're starting in September. If you're looking instead to get away of the city, to change a bit the environment, there's a lot of airports around Maastricht. As I mentioned before, we have Maastricht, Eindhoven, Amsterdam, Charleroi, Düsseldorf, Cologne, and they, especially Brussels and Eindhoven, they have very good deals if you want to go on a trip. And here you can see the map and the way they are located. Compared to Maastricht, they are all within 1 to 2 hours and a half away from Maastricht, so it's fairly easy to get to them. And then for biking around the city, of course, the main means of transport in the Netherlands that you're gonna see a lot when you come here is bikes, and the bike infrastructure here is very, very good. There's dedicated bike lanes to get safely anywhere, and you can get anywhere in the city within 10 to 20 minutes. As I said before, it's a small town, so you can get anywhere pretty fast, which is very nice and convenient. And to get a bike, you can either get a second-hand one from Facebook or Marketplace, or you can opt for a rental option, which is Swapfits, and it's around 20 euros a month. Of course, this depends on your needs, and also, like sometimes bikes get stolen. So I had my bike like stolen 3 times here in the Netherlands. So maybe a Swapfits would have been more financially convenient for me, because they also replace it for you if that happens. But it's also true that second-hand bikes can be quite cheap, let's say cheaper at the start. So depends on you, which choice you want to make. And as biking rules that you need to be aware of is that you always need to have working lights on your bike, both in the front or in the end. Otherwise, you get a fine for that. Also, never cycle with your phone in your hand. You're gonna get a €140 fine for that, and it happened to a couple of friends, so be careful. And always remember to double lock your bike. You can get a lock, chain lock, and a wheel lock when you come here, and so you make sure that it doesn't get stolen, like me, for example. And always use the dedicating bike parking, because if you don't, the municipality can just get your bike and remove it, and then there's a whole process to try to recover it, and you have to also pay a fine. I think it's around €25 to get it back. So yeah, be careful.
All right, so we're not going to go too deep into the trash system, because you'll learn it once you come here. But our main point is that Maastricht is aiming to be waste-free by 2030. So we recycle basically everything that you can recycle. There's a lot more things that come with the trash system that you can learn from our website, and you can read more about it, especially when you arrive to the city. But our top tip is to download the Milia app. You can find it on App Store and then the Samsung store. And this basically will help you recycling. The app, first of all, tells you what days you need to bring your trash out, but it also tells you exactly where to dispose whatever trash you have. But all of this can be found on our website, so check all of that information from there. Well, besides all of this nitty-gritty that we've got into, there's a lot more to Maastricht, especially in the social aspect. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about that. There's a lot of bars and restaurants, even so much that you could try a new place every day of the year. So there's over 400 cafes, bars, restaurants in Maastricht. So you'll definitely always have a big variation to choose from where to go and what to do. Also, a lot of community options coming from sports to other hobbies. And as Luisa said in the beginning, there's basically a hobby for anyone, whatever niche you're interested in. We do also have a university gym that is located next to our Ranvik campus. So for those interested in sports, and especially if you're living somewhere close by, it might be a good option to look into that. And it's one of the most affordable gyms in the city as well. Of course, a lot of gyms and other, for example, new reformer Pilates studios all over town. So whatever is your thing and your go-to, you will definitely find a place. We also have very diverse music and cultural scene. A lot of events are happening all the time. For example, right now we have a kermis. So in the Freithof, which is like the big market square, there is this small mini amusement park going on for this week, and we have a lot of concerts, for example, a lot of candlelight concerts that happen year round, and so on and so forth. So as soon as you move in, just get integrated, find fun things to do, and see what interests you, and go forward with that. A little bit about the support that is available, firstly from Maastricht University. So if you need a visa, so especially if you're coming from outside of the EU, you will probably need a visa. The visa office will be in touch with you. If you have any questions related to the process, you can always email them at visa@maastrichtuniversity.nl. Also, if you have questions about scholarships, especially if you're a non-EU student, you can contact the scholarship office through the email scholarships@maastrichtuniversity.nl and see what they have on offer. And in the case that you have some disability that you need some support for, you can contact the Disability Support Office at disability@maastrichtuniversity.nl, and you will be able to get in touch with them, and they will tell you how to best support you.
So if you're a non-EU student or you have questions that are specific to your situation, I recommend you reaching out directly via the email addresses listed here from ZAID University of Applied Science. The staff behind these addresses are experienced in the handling individual cases and can guide you through important matters such as visa procedure, housing, and registration.
Again, and now let's do a small recap or everything that we recommend you to do as soon as possible. So the first things first, you should try to find housing as early as possible. Start now, and you're still in time. Then check your health insurance if it's valid in your country, or if you need to apply for a Dutch insurance when you get here. Then we recommend to arrive in early August so you have enough time to settle in, understand well your neighborhood, how to move around, and then you can start your university life with a little bit more things figured out. Then you need to register with the municipality as soon as possible. As we said, it's very important, and get a DGD. And also, you can get a bank account if you feel like you need a Dutch bank account. And in the end, just get a bike and start slowly mastering the trash system. Where's the closest recycling island to you? Get the milieu up, as we said, and just get settled in. And yes, we also recommend coming a bit earlier because there's Income, which is a week organized for Maastricht University students, ZAU students, and Vista College students. And it's a week full of activities for you to experience the city and just get to know new people. There's a lot of parties going on, but there's a lot of more chill activities like a lot of sports events or a lot of fairs. Yeah, it's a very fun week. I highly recommend it. I did it for my first year. I met a ton of people. Some of them were already in my course, so I got to know some people before even going to my university. And this year is taking place from the 18th to the 22nd of August, and you can get the tickets on the Income official website. And also there's the faculty introduction days, which happen the week after Income, and they are organized by the faculties or the study programs at both Maastricht University and Zuid University, and it's the week before lectures start. And also there it's a way for you to get to know the faculty, like the buildings, and going around and meeting some of the teachers maybe already, and also meet your future classmates. And the faculty will inform you of the program and the sign-ups by email, so check out your email, and they're completely free, so I definitely recommend joining. And sometimes the student association organize additional activities. For example, when I did it last year with my student association, we also organized board games. So make sure to check out the Instagram of your study association for your program, so you're up to date. But I think the university should inform you as well. It's in the program, everything is in the program, so you're not gonna miss it. And yes, so that was mainly it for this presentation. If you have any questions, you can contact us at our emails for the team. So you can contact Ronia, Maria, or me as the emails that you see now. Or if you have any specific questions, you can that we might not be able to answer, you can contact the International Student Help Desk. That is always there to answer any of your questions. And as Ronia said before, you can also contact your team Zoid-Limburg if you have any problems with your housing or your landlord. And if you have any questions also now, you can feel free to leave them in the chat.
Well done, guys. Yeah, if anybody has any questions they would like us to answer. Oh, I see a few popping up. Okay. We have one question. What identification/documentation do I need to bring from my home country, e.g. birth certificate, license, etc.? This is a broad question.
Yeah,
Does
I think in general, you need your birth certificate and you need a valid ID, so a passport, if you, or a ID card if you're from the EU for your BSN registration. So do take your birth certificate and do take your passport or your ID card. In terms of license, if you're looking to drive, I mean, I would always just take it in case because you never know. But yeah, at least those two are something you should definitely take.
Oh, I would say that the birth certificate is not always mandatory in original. I came here with a copy of it, and I think it was like a verified copy, just because I thought it was a bit too risky to bring it abroad so I don't lose it or anything. I did bring my passport and my ID, and usually they were necessary. They were like sufficient for most things I had to apply for.
Yes, I remember when I was coming to Maastricht, I also brought my birth certificate, but I made sure to be translated in English and also my passport.
All right, we also have a question about how do you register with a GP? Great question. So if you look at our city map and you find a GP that is closest to you or one of those that is closest to you, you go on their website. Some of them have an online form that you can just fill in, and some of them require you to call them. They do always speak English. So just say in the beginning that you would like to speak in English, and then they will help you with the whole registration process. So it depends a little bit on the GP, but either through their website or by phone.
We have another question about how long it would normally take to get the allowances we were talking about. So I'm guessing studiefinanciering and maybe zorgtoeslag as well. Is it a few weeks or a few months? So it can really depend. It can take between like 2 weeks to 3 months. The maximum they can take is 3 months. I did happen for one of my allowances to take 3 months, so you should take that into account. And yeah, it really depends on the situation. Also, when you apply, yeah, there's a lot of factors that come into play.
Yeah, I think though in general is around 8 weeks. I think also they try to keep it within the 2 months max.
Does UM provide support tools for students with learning disabilities like dyslexia or dyscalculia? I'm not entirely sure about the tools. I know that during exams you get extended exam times, and you also get to take the exam somewhere else, so not in the space where everybody would take the exam. So like in smaller rooms, and you get an extra like 30 minutes, I believe, or yeah. Anything else? Do you guys know of anything else?
Yeah, I would just definitely, I would just
Sorry, go
definitely reach
ahead,
out to
Ashley.
them because they definitely have the support for you there. We're just not sure what specific approach they would take to it.
Yeah, there's depending on the specific diagnosis and the level of those, there are different things available, but just email the disability support team.
I think I saw somewhere that the first time I come to Maastricht, I should come to a Dutch airport. Can you explain? I don't I don't think this is a requirement. I've never heard of this. You can land anywhere. There's a lot of airports nearby. So we have Charleroi, we have the Maastricht airport, which yeah, is in the Netherlands. There's also like some airports in Germany that you can land on, which are close-ish, but if they're cheaper for you, then yeah, this is not a requirement.
Yeah, but I think in terms of if you're coming here for the first time, the easiest airports to access Maastricht are Amsterdam and Charleroi. Charleroi has a direct bus line. Amsterdam, you need to switch the train once or twice. So I would say those are the easiest ones. But of course, all of the other options that Maria mentioned are also good.
And also
Yeah,
the
Eindhoven, I would say.
Eindhoven, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there something you really wish you knew sooner?
I think for me personally, I started looking for housing in July. That's way too late. So now that you're already here, if you know that you're coming to Maastricht, start looking for housing at this point if you haven't yet. It's gonna make your life so much easier and so much stress-freer. So I think that was definitely the one for me.
For me, I would say the NS subscriptions, which you can get for trains. I found out about them a bit too late. And for example, there's one at 5.60 euros. So and it gives you 40% off during off-peak hours. And it was like so good to find out that that's an option, so you don't have to pay so much for trains. Anyone else that has tips or like
I'm trying to think. Be very careful of fines, maybe. I would say.
Yes. And where do you place your trash and know the trash system? And where do you park your bike?
Yes, where do you park your bike? Yes, and to buy double locks. Actually, yeah, the bikes that are go stolen, and maybe get a swap. It's like maybe it's better. I don't know.
Then we have a question about the blue card related to public health insurance. So the blue card is not related to public health insurance. The blue card is something that you should have received if you are coming from the EU from your health insurance provider in your home country. So it is this blue card. You can just Google European health insurance card. You will know what it looks like, and that is something that will provide your health insurance coverage here. However, do make sure that do know that sometimes you might have to pay the fees yourself first and then get reimbursed from your health insurance provider. In the case, then if you get the Dutch public health insurance, then the Dutch public health insurance provider will give you this card as well.
We also have being an Erasmus student, do you recommend coming the week of income or a few days before the welcome week of the university? I would say it's always best to come a few days before the official introduction days from your university. It just helps with settling in and like arranging your room, maybe getting to know the city a little bit. I remember I was during income and it was literally my second day because I arrived a week before income. And I left my bike on a street, and then at 3 a.m. I was walking around the city because I just did not know where my bike was. Like I physically could not find it. And yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. So I would also like definitely recommend coming a bit earlier to get to know around and maybe apply for the BSN, so register at the municipality and so on. And yeah, income I would recommend, especially if you're just coming here, because there's a lot of activities to explore the city, like taking you to the pool, taking you to the bowling place, also getting to know a lot of the students' associations and communities, sports communities that are in the city. So also, will we be given a student card when we begin our studies? How can we apply for this? Does this give us any benefits, discounts? You get a student card from the university. It might take like a week or two, I think, to get the student card. Sometimes it gives you discounts, for example, for museums or certain stores have discounts for students, but it's not that the discounts come directly or that they let you know which discounts they are. You kind of have to go explore.
Then there is a question about the rent allowance, if it would be easier to get it with a student house or with a shared apartment. For the rent allowance, mostly the only way you get it is by having your own place, so not a shared apartment. That's because the limits of how much your accommodation can cost are usually quite low, especially if you're under the age of 23. If you're above the age of 23, then it is a little bit higher, but still it's not how much you are paying yourself, but it's how much the whole place is costing. So for example, if you have a shared apartment and it costs 1,300 without utilities, you're not eligible for this, even though you are paying less than what the amount would be for the rent allowance. But all of this can also be found out on our website, so you can read more about the specific instructions and the specific requirements for the rent allowance. Then in the chat, we do have a question also about registering with the municipality. You can find all the instructions on our website, specific step-by-step instructions, so find that over there through the link that was just sent into the chat.
Did we answer this one with which one is the cheapest housing option? No. I don't know if there's any like housing option. Probably like living with multiple people would be the cheapest. Usually the more people you have in the house, the cheaper the housing is. But that's also not always nice when you have like 9 people living with you. But sometimes it's a good option for the first year, and then most people usually move out in their second year. That's also what I did. I was in a house with 6 other girls. It was really nice. We had a really nice landlord, so that was at least very good, but it can be a bit difficult to get along with 6 people when you're the 7th. So that would be the cheapest. As for options like websites and so, it really depends what you find in your luck, I would say, because sometimes you do end up finding like really cheap, good stuff, but it doesn't happen so often. And other times you just find like very expensive housing. So
there is also a question about joining in January for the second semester. So there unfortunately is no income at that time, but there are faculty introduction days as well for a lot of faculties, depending a little bit where you are joining in. But regardless, I'm sure you will be able to find friends and people to hang out with and so on. So no worries in that sense.
I'm an international student coming to Maastricht. Are there any student organized travel weekends away groups? There are some student organizations who are organizing like weekend getaways. For example, ESN usually has 1 or 2 trips per year where they do like very cheap weekends to Prague or to Luxembourg, usually Europe locations because they're cheaper. There's also other student associations which do, for example, skiing camps, or there's other student associations which do just like day trips to the sea, like to The Hague. So yeah, there's quite some options, but you do need to look for them as the university doesn't like tell you about them.
Then we have a question about what is considered cheap housing. So I would say a cheap housing, including utilities, is maybe 450 euros ish. You might be able to get something for a little bit cheaper, but as we mentioned earlier, the average is around 550. So if it is costing something like 250 or 300, then it is probably too good to be true. And we're also asked if we would recommend a house closer to uni but more expensive, or a house a bit further away but cheaper. So in general, Maastricht is very cyclable. So even if you live as far away from your university as possible, it's maybe a maximum 15-minute cycle. So everything is really close by. So then it is just, what is your preference? Do you prefer to pay a little bit more, but then maybe walk, or do you prefer to pay a little bit less and then maybe cycle those 15 minutes every day? So depends fully on your preferences. Also a question about recommended staying at Live NB/Nido. I don't know if anybody has any personal experience from those.
I've been to neither. I don't live there, but I've been, and it's very nice actually. And I think the price is quite fair actually. Some of my friends live there, and you can apply as well as for a rental subsidy. So I think Nido is quite nice, very very new, very feels a bit like a hotel. But if you're studying at FSC, for example, very close, you can walk to uni. It's very nice.
Yes. I also have a friend who lives at Nido. They also have a gym included, community rooms. So I would say it's a very good option if you have the opportunity to actually live there.
Okay, that seems to be all the questions for today. Thank you guys very much for giving this presentation. I hope it was informative for everybody who came to watch. Reminder that you can always send us an email, DM us on Instagram if you have any questions that pop up after this presentation. And yeah, we hope you have the best time ever in Maastricht.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining. Have a nice evening.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
See you. We can maybe do a quick debrief once everybody's gone. Is Hilda still here?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Bye. Thanks for coming. Louis. Great. Okay, well done, everyone. That was great. I think it went really smoothly.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
Good. A lot of questions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think,
thought
I think in the beginning it was a bit slow with the questions. I was like, why is nobody asking? But
yeah, I think just
yeah.
people don't get it, how to work it yet, or yeah, they don't know what they can ask. So yeah, well done. Do you guys have any feedback? Anything you think we can improve on?
I actually really like the new pictures. I think
Oh
that
yeah,
Isabel made. So I just thought those were really
Yeah.
nice.
they're nice, right? Yeah, I think it really ties it together a lot better, the presentation.
I really
What
think now
about,
it's like all the same.
yeah, very consistent with our branding.
Yeah, one thing, I mean, it's okay. It was the fact that I wasn't changing the slides, it was stresses me out a bit,
Yeah.
but it's also fine. I was like, so next thing,
That's fair. I just don't know how to do it when there's two of you presenting. Like one person ultimately needs to be doing the
Why don't we
thingy.
just have the slide pop out with the whole text?
Yeah, I think it's more engaging this way. That's my
Mhm.
opinion. But yeah, maybe you guys have a different opinion. I just think to keep people's attention span and the kids these days,
Mhm.
like it's like step by step, I think it aligns better. But I totally get that it's like pressure for the speaker.
Or at
And
least
for
to
the-
have them less, because sometimes, like, I know what I have to say, but sometimes even like in person presentation, I click and then like, oh wait, there's still something that I forgot to mention.
Yeah,
Or then maybe like, once it's clicked, let's just keep it there, regardless of whether we are that far, rather than going maybe
yeah,
back and
that's
forth.
fair. I didn't know what to do.
No, and I
Should
mean
I go back?
it's fair because like it's not like we say the exact word to word same thing every time, right?